To infinity and beyond. What does Woody, Buzz Lightyear, have to do with artificial intelligence and a catalog, the mail order catalog? So let's get into it today. Welcome back, Sparklers. Welcome to Mosaic Sparks with me, Lesley George. But before we begin, I want to thank our international listeners, especially those tuning in consistently from Frankfurt, Germany, and the Netherlands. I see the consistency of our listeners in that region, and I want you to know how much I appreciate you. I am grateful for every person listening, whether you are around the corner, across the country, or on the other side of the world. We are building a sparklers community where people can recognize their value, use their voices, and find the courage to take their next step. If today is a special day for you, I want to celebrate with you. Maybe it's your birthday or anniversary. Maybe today marks the beginning of something you prayed for, you have worked for, and waited for. If this is day one of a new job, business, relationship, you are on a healing journey or a new chapter in your life, I celebrate with you. Beginnings carry a special kind of hope, and I am grateful that you choose to spend part of this day with me. You can visit mosaicsparks.com to find all of our episodes in one place. You can also join our community there if you want additional content, encouragement, and updates from me. Now, let's get into today's conversation. So, today is National Mail Order Category Catalog Day. I know some of you are saying mail order catalog, Lesley. Somebody has apparently given everything its own national day. However, mail order catalogs were a real part of our lives, especially for those of us who remember a time before online shopping. We had Sears, J.C. Penney, Montgomery Ward, and Fingerhut for the people who wanted to pay for a toaster oven over 12 months. These catalogs were serious business. You sat down, you turned the pages, folded those corners, and circled what you wanted. And if you were a child, the toy section was where dreams were manufactured. You studied those pages like you were preparing for a final exam. You knew the page number, the item number, the color, and the price. And then you handed that catalog all marked up to an adult who controlled the household economy and shared and started making your case. There was no click a button, add to cart. There was please and ma'am. Now, once the order was placed, you just waited. There was no tracking notification telling you that your package had left a facility. It entered another facility. It may have crossed 3 states and given you the time that it would arrive between maybe 1:45 and 5:30. You just waited. You hoped and ran to the door whenever you heard a delivery truck. The mail order catalog changed how people shopped. It gave families access to products that might not have been available in their communities. It definitely placed possibilities into their hands. Then the world changed. Catalogs became thinner, stores expanded, and the internet arrived. Online shopping took over. Those thick books that once occupied the coffee table slowly disappeared. Now, people didn't stop wanting access, convenience, choice, or delivery. A faster method arrived to provide it. The purpose remained, but the delivery changed. That thought led me directly to Woody from Toy Story. Now, Woody knew what it felt like to be useful, trusted, and chosen. He had been Andy's favorite toy for years. He was the leader of the room, and the other toys listened when he spoke. He had the experience, he understood Andy, he knew the house, the rules, and the relationship between all the toys. He knew his place. And then Buzz Lightyear arrived. Now, Buzz was shiny, impressive, and technologically advanced. He had buttons, wings, flashing lights, and that dramatic voice. When Buzz walked into the room with features Woody could not match, all Woody had was a pull string. Buzz was prepared to go to infinity and beyond. The room reacted immediately. Everybody wanted to see the new toy. They wanted to hear Buzz touch the buttons and watch the wings come out. Woody watched the attention move away from him and panic over time. He was still the same Woody who had led the room the day before. His experience didn't disappear when Buzz arrived. His relationships did not disappear, or his leadership ability. But Woody began questioning his worth because someone new was receiving attention. That fear is familiar to many of us as we grow older. Now you can walk into a workplace where the technology has changed, the language has changed, and the people making decisions appear to be getting younger. Someone mentions a new platform, and before you have learned how to pronounce its name, the company has already scheduled a mandatory training. And now AI, artificial intelligence, has entered the room. AI can create presentations, organize information, analyze data, produce videos, and perform tasks that once required hours, even days of human work. Now, it doesn't need a lunch break or get tired. It doesn't roll its eyes when another meeting should have been an email. That can make an experienced person wonder, where do I fit into this? You may find yourself watching younger professionals move through digital platforms with ease. They understand the newest language, know what is trending, and appear comfortable in a world that sometimes make you feel as though somebody rearranged all the furniture while you were sleeping. The discomfort can turn into fear, and fear that your experience no longer has value, fear that your skills have become outdated. What about fear that the world has moved ahead without asking whether you were ready? Fear that you have become Woody in a room filled with Buzz Lightyears. Woody had to learn that the arrival of something new didn't erase the value of what was already there. Now, the new toy had technology, but the new toy did not know the room. Woody understood the people, the history, and the responsibility that came with leadership. He knew how toys worked. He recognized danger because he had enough experience to see the patterns. And he understood Andy because that relationship had been built over time. Now, Buzz brought new capabilities, absolutely, but Woody brought context. That distinction is essential in the age of AI. AI can arrange information, but it doesn't have your lived experience. It can produce language, but it has not lived through the moments that gave your words emotional weight. It can identify patterns in data, yes, but it has never sat across from an employee who was trying not to cry. It has never raised a family, built a life, survived the disappointment, or entered a room where nobody expected it to succeed, or learned to lead while carrying responsibilities nobody else could see. AI can provide information about courage. It has never had to be courageous. Your humanity remains one of your greatest advantages, and your judgment carries weight. Your relationship, your intuition, and experience gives you something technology cannot reproduce. Experience becomes powerful when we keep it active. That is where responsibility enters the conversation. We can't demand that the world recognize our experience while refusing to learn how the world now works. Being experienced does not excuse us from being curious. Wisdom and curiosity belong in the same room. Some people reach a certain age and start wearing, I don't do technology, as though it was a badge of honor. They announce it proudly before asking someone else to complete the task for them. There was a time when you didn't know how to send a text message. What about joining a video call or use the computer that you currently have sitting in front of you? But you learned because the technology became connected to something you needed or wanted. You are still capable of learning. Now, I know this from my own experience because there was a time when I didn't even like the word funnels. Every time someone said it, I felt as though I had entered a conversation in a foreign language. Funnels, landing pages, integrations, domains, all the features that come with building a website felt completely unfamiliar to me. I knew that I wanted my website to accomplish. I knew what I wanted my website to accomplish. I could I could picture how I wanted people to experience them. I had the vision, but I didn't have the technological language to explain it. And that can be frustrating, definitely. It can be a frustrating position because when you do not understand the language of a particular field, you can become believing that the person who knows the technology or the terminology must also know what is best for your vision. And I had to learn the difference between respecting someone's expertise and surrendering my vision. I gave myself time to learn what I needed to learn. I asked questions and figured out what what the different features did. I learned enough to make informed decisions instead of automatically accepting what someone in the field thought was best. Now, I didn't need to become a professional website developer. I needed to become an informed owner of my vision. Today, I built two websites that look and function the way I want them to. They include the features I selected because I now understand why those features belong there. The terminology was foreign at first. It didn't remain foreign because I accepted responsibility for learning it. That experience taught me that frustration and inability are two different things. Feeling confused in the beginning does not mean you are incapable of understanding. You don't have to know every platform or download every new application. You need to understand the changes affecting your work, business, industry, or audience because relevance requires your participation. Now, Woody's fear caused him to focus on removing Buzz instead of understanding what Buzz brought to the room. Fear can make another person's gift look like evidence that yours has expired. A better question is, how can I combine what I know with what is now available? Take a woman with 20 years of leadership experience who learns to use AI and she can give her wisdom greater reach. An author who uses technology to arrange research or understand her audience is still an author. The technology supports her process, her voice, judgment, and truth, and the story remains hers. A coach can use digital tools to serve more people while protecting the personal connection that makes her work effective. Same as a speaker can use new platforms to carry her message into rooms she may never enter physically. Mosaic Sparks is evidence of that in my own life. More than 2 years ago, I started Mosaic Sparks as a YouTube channel. I was creating content and putting my voice into the world, but I was not completely satisfied. Something kept telling me that YouTube was not the full vision. I saw and wanted a podcast. I wanted conversations, stories, Disney connections, particular life lessons, and a community of listeners who would return because the message connected with something happening in their life. Now, at the time, I didn't have all the tools or language to explain exactly what I wanted. I simply knew that what I had created did not fully match what I had envisioned. That kind of dissatisfaction can be useful because it served me well, because sometimes it tells you the vision is still developing. I discovered an incredible community focused on helping people grow a podcast. I began learning the language of podcasting. I learned about distribution, downloads, audience growth, positioning, and sponsorship. I gained a better understanding of how to build a show beyond recording an episode and placing it online. The gift was already present. The tools helped me create the right container for it. And now Mosaic Sparks has listeners in the United States, Frankfurt, Germany, in the Netherlands, and other parts of the world. And I have reached the stage where I'm even pitching brands to sponsor the podcast. Now, think about that journey. It started as a YouTube channel, didn't feel complete. I could have remained there because I had already created something. I could have decided that my inability to explain the full vision meant the vision was unrealistic. I kept learning until I had the language to describe what I had been seeing all along. Sometimes your spirit recognizes that distinction before your vocabulary catches up. Relevance requires you to honor that vision while learning how to bring it to life. I want to challenge you for that. The tool does not replace the gift. The right tool can amplify the gift when the person holding it accepts responsibility for using it. That is brag in action. You may ask, what is brag if you've never heard about it? Brag means be responsible for amplifying God's greatness in you. Being responsible means I cannot bury my gift beneath the excuse that the world changed. I can't complain about a younger generation while refusing to learn from them. And I can't wait for someone to notice experience that I continue to hide. I can't accept yesterday's strategy to keep producing tomorrow's results. Responsibility calls me to remain teachable, coachable, develop my skills, communicate my value clearly, and bring my experience into the present. Amplifying God's greatness means taking what has been placed inside of me, inside of you, and allowing it to serve people when? Now. Your gift has a place in the world and it exists today. Your method may need to change. Your message may need a new container, and your knowledge may need to travel through a different channel. Your value remains intact. Now, the mail order catalog gives us the perfect example because the catalog disappeared, but the purpose survived. The paper pages became websites. The order form became a digital shopping cart. The check in the mail became a one click purchase. Delivery that once took several weeks now takes now happens within a few hours. The purpose continued because the delivery adapted. So maybe your gift is still needed, but the way you are presenting it needs to change. Your knowledge is valuable, but you have not translated it for the people who need it now. Your business solves a real problem, but your customers can't find you. You keep saying social media is not your thing. while wondering why people who need your message do not know your name. And you keep waiting for an invitation from a system that now expects you to build your own platform. Relevance does not require you to chase every trend or pretend to be 25 years old. Nobody needs to see you dancing beside the trash can at 6 o'clock in the morning because someone said it will help the algorithm. Relevance requires awareness, learning, and intentional action. Woody's journey also reminds us that our roles will change. First, he connected his value to being Andy's favorite toy. Later, he connected his value to being needed by Andy. Then he had to face what happened when Andy grew up. Woody's deepest struggle was whether he could recognize his worth when the role that once confirmed it was no longer available. That's a real conversation for many people. Who are you when your children no longer need you in the same way? Who are you when the title, the body, the relationship, the responsibilities change? A change in role does not mean a disappearing purpose. The role was one place where your gift operated. It was never the full measure of your gift. Woody remained loyal, courageous, strategic, and committed to others, even when he was no longer sitting in the same place on Andy's bed. His location changed, the contribution changed, his purpose expanded, and the same can happen for you. Aging gives you something youth can't manufacture quickly, and that is perspective. You've seen ideas arrive with great excitement, disappear, and return 15 years later with a new name, better branding. You know that every emergency is not an emergency, and you can recognize a familiar mistake while everyone else is still admiring the package. Perspective becomes useful when it's shared, updated, and applied. Experience sitting untouched on a shelf simply becomes history. Experience brought into today's challenge becomes wisdom. Now, Woody and Buzz became stronger when they stopped competing and combined their strengths. Woody knew the terrain, Buzz brought capabilities Woody didn't have. And together they accomplished things neither could have accomplished alone. That is the picture I want us to carry into this season. Your experience can work with continued learning. Your wisdom can work with new technology. Leadership can work with willingness to ask for help. Your confidence can work with the courage to become a student again. And that combination can carry you into places your experience alone could not reach. Now, I want to move this from inspiration into action because feeling encouraged for 30 minutes will not change your life. A decision followed by action can. So, choose one area where you have started feeling outdated, overlooked, or uncertain. Name it without judging yourself. Then answer 3 questions. What do I already know that still has value, which is question 1. Number 2, what do I need to learn so I can apply that knowledge in today's world? And number 3, what action will I complete within the next 7 days? Your action could be attending a class. What about trying an AI tool? Updating your professional profile? Asking someone to teach you about a platform? Or finally sharing the idea you have been sitting on? Choose one action you can complete. Give it a date and put that on the calendar because otherwise than that, it does not work. If it stays in your head, it will never come out. And then your next step this doesn't need to impress anybody. It needs to move you. Stop saying I'm too old for that when the truth may be I am uncomfortable being new at something. You have been a beginner for many things before. You were once new at the work you now do with confidence. You were once unfamiliar with the responsibilities that you now manage without even thinking about them. Learning may feel awkward before it feels natural. Your value was never based on being the newest person in the room. Your value comes from what you carry, how you continue developing it, and your willingness to use it in service of something meaningful. Now, you're not a catalog gathering dust on a shelf or an old model waiting to be replaced. And you're not a discontinued item. You have experience, perspective, resilience, gifts that still have work to do. The world will continue changing. Technology will continue developing. New voices will enter the rooms. New tools will challenge the way we have always done things. Their arrival does not announce your departure. Do not spend this season staring at Buzz Lightyear's wings that and forgetting what you brought to the room. You know the terrain, you understand the people, you have lived through enough plot twists to know that panic rarely produces a good decision. Pick up the new tools and bring your wisdom with you. Walk into the next room willing to learn and prepare to lead. That is how you remain relevant. This is how you unbox your brilliance, and that is brag in action. So before we close, Sparklers, I just want us to say the official brag pledge together. Whether you are, wherever you are, say it out loud. Your voice needs to hear what your heart has decided. So say it with me. This is the brag pledge. I will be fully who God created me to be. I will take responsibility for my voice, my growth, my choices, and my brilliance. I will amplify what I once minimized, edited, or hid. I will remember that I am God's created intentionally and worthy before any achievement. And I would honor the greatness placed within me and allow the gift of me to be seen. I will not shrink to make other people look comfortable. I will not wait for permission to be visible. I will brag with confidence, responsibility, and purpose. I am God's gifts, and I will show up like I know it. Sparklers, carry that pledge with you this week. Choose your next action and complete it. The world may continue updating, but you are still valuable. You are still needed. You are still becoming. So visit mosaicsparks.com for more episodes and additional content. Share this episode with someone who needs to be reminded that they have not been replaced, forgotten, or discontinued. So until next time, keep shining, keep growing, and keep bragging. So we will see you next time on Mosaic Sparks with me, Lesley George. Please share this episode, like, and leave us a review. Until next time, bye. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Da, 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 da.